Hello everybody and welcome back to Expert Examiner IELTS. My name is Glyn and in this video I'm going to do another writing check. I'm going to check a candidate's IELTS writing academic essay task 2, and as always we start by reading the question and making sure that we understand what is required from the question and also thinking a little bit about structure. So let's take a look at this. More people are working from home due to advances in technology. Okay, nice, simple, easy opening sentence there. More people are working from home due to advances in technology. Cool. Is this a positive or negative development? So this is, different to what are the advantages and disadvantages, or even do the advantages outweigh the disadvantages? It's just asking you, pick a side. Is it positive? Is it negative? Of course, it is possible to kind of take a middle position, but I recommend against it. One thing that we need in these kinds of IELTS questions is we need to maintain a consistent stance. And for me, the easiest way to maintain a consistent stance is just to pick a side, positive or negative. And of course, you skilled writers might decide to, point out what some of the negatives are, but then explain why the positives are stronger. You could have a sophisticated approach like this, but in general, I don't think you need to make it more difficult. I've said many times, I'm a very, very simple human, and I like very, very simple essays. Clear, easy to understand points. And so my approach to this would be an introduction. And in the introduction, I always like to have three things: some background information about the topic. The topic here is, it could be technology, but really the topic is the world of work and the place where we work, right? So, throughout history, humans have worked in a number of different places, including, offices or coal mines and blah, 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 blah. Then some reference to the question. Now we want to bring in that, however, recently due to technological progress, more and more people find themselves working from home. That's the reference to the question. And then in the introduction, I need to see the candidate's position. I need to know if the candidate thinks that this is a positive or a negative development. And for me, an easy way to do that is just to say, in this essay, I will explain why I believe this is a positive development, or why I believe that this is, a positive or a negative change or whatever. Yeah. Then, of course, if you choose positive, then you spend body paragraph 1 giving reason 1 why it's positive, body paragraph 2 with reason 2 why it's positive, and the conclusion, a summary of your ideas and maybe a reflective comment. Of course, there are other ways of approaching the task, and I'm not saying that one way is 100% the right way or that one way is 100% the only way, because it's not. But for me, that's a very logical approach to this task. Let's see what the candidate has for us. First thing I want to do, of course, is to check the number of words and also to check the paragraphs. I have checked to make sure this is in the word count. 278, beautiful. That's golden zone for me. Write at least 250 words. For me, if you're writing more than 300... and I don't accept writing more than 310 words. That's not IELTS's word count, that's mine. I don't think it's realistic, really, to write more than 310 words. But 280 or 278, wonderful, perfect. Just looking at the balance, paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4... balance looks very nice. The one thing I will say is that body paragraph 2 kind of looks a little long, doesn't it? How many words does that have? 120 words. So, almost half of the essay is body paragraph 2. So body paragraph 2 looks a little bit long. Conclusion looks a little bit short, but I know candidates from Uzbekistan kind of, I don't know, they use the same templates or the same model essays, and they prefer very short conclusions. But that's, not necessarily a bad thing. All right, let's get into the actual writing itself. Thanks to advancements, I don't think we need that here. Thanks to advancements in technology, there has been an increasing number of people opting for work. And this is, opting for working for the comfort. So it should be from the comfort of their homes, not for the comfort of their homes, but from the comfort of their homes. And this just feels a little bit wordy. There's been an increasing number of people opting for, I mean, we could just take out opting for, right? There's been an increasing number of people working from the comfort of their homes. I don't think we need this opting for. It makes it sound a little bit less readable, but okay, not a big problem. While this development has made work-life balances challenging for workers, okay, I believe its advantages are far more significant. Candidate's written fair, it's just a spelling error or a typo. Fair more significant, should be far more significant. Okay, so we get to see the candidate's position. The advantages are far more significant. You know, from that I infer that the candidate believes that this is a positive development. Great bit of background information about the subject, introduces it well, and I get to see the candidate's position. I don't love this opting for, but okay, in general, introduction is strong. Indeed. Okay, indeed. Striking a balance between personal and professional life is one of the major drawbacks working remotely. Now, I would say this, you know, candidate has set it up like saying that, yeah, work-life balance makes it challenging, but the advantages are more significant. Are we going to get a paragraph now on why, you know, working from home is kind of challenging or kind of difficult? I don't know if we need to do that really, because we want to maintain a consistent position. But, you know, this is the candidate's position. It has made work-life balances challenging, but the advantages are far more significant. So, you know, it's okay to talk about this work-life balance problem. Let's see. Indeed, striking a balance between personal and professional life is one of the major drawbacks of working remotely. Cool, so we get a label for the argument. Let's see if the candidate can explain what they mean. Can the candidate explain why working from home makes it difficult to strike a balance, like this striking a balance? Being online means receiving countless work-related notifications. That's true if you work online in an office or from home. Alerts and texts for a variety of reasons. I don't love like non-specific words in IELTS writing task 2 for a variety of reasons. I just don't think we need it. You know, work-related notifications, alerts, and texts. Is this really doing anything for a variety of reasons? I don't think so. Which is not only, I always like comma which, cool, which is not only limited to the working hours, but also beyond this time. Okay, but that's true if you work in an office or if you work from home, right? If you work in an office, you still get work-related notifications, alerts, and texts. And you can still get those texts when you're out of the office. In fact, many people I know who work in offices, they complain that, you know, oh, my boss writes to me when I'm at home because we're online. So this problem of finding a balance between your personal and professional life, that's not only true for people who work from home. As such, workers tend to find themselves spending a significant amount of time handling these responsibilities. Handling a responsibility, maybe it's okay, while they are not scheduled to do so. Love this to do so. Very nice, very nice, very nice. This can result in them feeling burnout. Yeah. Feeling burnt out, maybe. I understand burnout as a noun, but I don't like these constructions of feel plus noun. Like I felt happiness doesn't sound as good as like I felt happy, and in them feeling burnt out, I think using the adjective instead of the noun probably better. Burnt out as well as stressed, comma, negatively impacting their mental health. Okay, so I know this trick, but nice use of the participle clause here. Cool, nice variety of grammar. So the language is very nice. I will say the language is very nice. The paragraph is very readable. However, we know the number one problem for most of the candidates that I check on this channel is task response. I don't think the candidate has done a good job of supporting the argument that working from home negatively affects your work-life balance. The candidate hasn't made any substantial argument or hasn't backed up or supported the argument showing why it's worse if you work from home than if you work in the office. Candidates only said that because of technology now, people who you work with can write to you outside of working hours, and that's not limited to people who work from home. So, yeah, unfortunately, we have a whole body paragraph which is just not well supported. Okay. Despite this issue, okay, nice little reference word here. Despite this issue, remote workers often enjoy a wealth of benefits in this work culture. Cool, but I again, if you watch my channel, and obviously people don't watch my channel, you'll know that I just think get into, despite this issue, one major benefit of working remotely is blah, 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 blah. Make the argument first and then develop. We don't need to say they enjoy a wealth of benefits. Okay. One of them is the flexibility that it offers. Lovely. The flexibility that it offers. I like it very much. Cool. Cool. Unlike attending offices in person, nice, workers, comma, such as freelancers, comma, or even just workers such as freelancers can join any meeting. I don't like this. I don't think I like it. Let's read it again. Unlike attending offices, I don't know if do you attend offices? You attend meetings? You attend a class? I don't think you can attend an office. Attending offices in person, unlike attending offices in person, workers such as freelancers can, I think this is a dangling participle, isn't it? What is the subject of this participle? Unlike attending offices in person. So it's not clear what the subject of this is. It's certainly not workers such as freelancers. So it's a dangling participle. Workers such as freelancers can join any meeting, reply to an email, or schedule their business plan. What does it mean to schedule a business plan? Really don't know what that means. From the corner of their home. Why the corner? That's oddly specific. From the corner of their home without requiring them to commute to the workplaces. Okay, so this is a very wordy, not a very readable point, but the idea is clear. The candidate is saying that people who work from home don't need to go to the office. They don't need to commute. They can do everything from home. Okay, makes sense. This means time and money involved in this commuting can be avoided. Good. Maybe the time and money involved in this commuting. The time and money involved in this commuting can be avoided instead. Oh no, maybe rather works. And rather be. Yeah, maybe. I still prefer instead, but okay, I'll take off that red. And rather be utilized in. Utilized, maybe spent. Do we utilize time and money? For me, spend is the most appropriate collocation here. And spent on. Utilized on. You spend time and money on something, on other tasks to increase productivity. Okay. I get the point. Time and money, great. Again, it takes the candidate a lot of words, a lot of complex language, just to make a simple point. If you work from home, you don't need to spend time and money commuting to the office, and this time can be spent on more productive tasks, right? That's all you need to write. So you're not very concise with this. These conveniences also enable employees to schedule their meetings according to their availability. Again, it's just not readable, is it? I mean, Okay, these conveniences also enable employees to schedule their meetings according to their availability without a need for strict timetables as in traditional office-based jobs, like in traditional office-based jobs. And it's just too complex. It's not readable. It's difficult to read. These conveniences enable employees to schedule their meetings according to their availability without a need for strict timetables, as in. So, learning to write in easier to understand clauses is a skill. And I understand many candidates from Uzbekistan want to show off complexity, but there is such a thing as being too complex. And for me, this sentence is difficult to read. All these opportunities is fine, but it's not very formal. I think all these opportunities, yeah, omitting the of. I would prefer it with the of, but okay. All these opportunities, maybe it's okay. All these opportunities have naturally prompted many individuals to prefer remote jobs. You don't need this. It's an absolutely unnecessary thing. You don't need to explain that these conveniences have made more people work from home. That's not what we need to do in this essay. We just need to talk about whether it's a positive or a negative thing. So yeah, it's not really relevant at the end. Okay. So how satisfied am I with this as a point? So it's more flexible. You don't have to waste time and money commuting. You can increase your productivity if you don't have to waste this stuff. And you can schedule your meetings without strict timetables. I don't know about this second point. It's not overly clear. So yeah, first body paragraph. The second body paragraph is better than the first body paragraph, but there are still some problems there. Anyway, conclusion. To conclude, good. Work-life balance may become blurred. That makes sense, right? If you work from home, it could become blurred. But yeah, as a result of working online from home, just working from home is fine. Why do we need online here? Again, it's just an extra word that is just unnecessary. Nevertheless, this trend has gained popularity over its excessive offerings. No idea what that means. It has gained popularity over its excessive offerings. Just no idea. In terms of comfort and flexibilities, I don't know about using flexibility as a countable plural noun here. Bit odd, flexibilities. Okay. All right. So let's get conclusion does its job. It sums up the main points nicely. I sometimes like a reflective comment, but it's definitely not essential. So I think quite an easy one to mark. I think task response is going to be a 6. If the first paragraph had been like this. If the first body paragraph had been like the second body paragraph, I might have gone more towards the 7, but I can't award C1 task response when we have one point that is poorly supported, or even the argument just isn't made really, and then the second body paragraph that's like, I kind of understand it, but then you kind of drift off into other things and include some not very relevant information at the end. But, in terms of addressing the prompt, the candidate has explained why it's a positive development, the candidate has stated their position, and the candidate has attempted to provide arguments to support. The development of the arguments and the clarity of the support isn't very strong, but, the main parts, the prompt is addressed, is dealt with, but with poor development, in my opinion. Task response 6 for me, coherence and cohesion. I do think, this is higher. 4 paragraphs, very clear introduction, 2 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. Of course, we get the usual signposting language to conclude. We get, okay, indeed. okay. We get nice connectives like thanks to, perhaps due to might be better, but okay. We get while, cool, as such. So internally, inside paragraphs, there's a lot of cohesive devices. There is a logical flow throughout. I think we can, the readability of some things is an issue, but I think, yeah, for coherence and cohesion, I would be okay awarding an 8 for this. Lexical resource to me is a clear 7. Candidate has a lot of very, very good language. I like this, like work-life balance may become blurred, good stuff. A wealth of benefits, beautiful, very nice. Not only limited to, cool. So lots of good language, but then we get some odd things like opting for is unnecessary for a variety of reasons, is just unnecessary. Okay, that's not a vocab point. That might be coherence and cohesion. Could I drop coherence and cohesion to a 7? I think I'm borderline between the 7 and 8, but looking back, I'm going to put it to a 7 just because some things are just not concise. Sorry for that. Sorry for raising your hopes and then dashing them. So yeah, I'm going to drop it to a 7 for coherence and cohesion just because we have just a few like unnecessary, not very concise things, and that, yeah, I'm borderline 7 and 8 on coherence and cohesion. But back to vocab. So the parts of vocab that are like a little bit weird is like utilize time and money. Maybe that's okay. It's excessive offerings. Don't know what that means. Flexibilities as a plural noun. Not sure. Schedule their business plan. I can kind of infer meaning. Attending offices. Maybe that's okay. You're going to attend the office. Maybe it's okay attending offices. I don't know. Yeah, major drawbacks to working or major drawbacks of working remotely. So yeah, a couple of inappropriacies and a few too many inappropriacies for the 7. Grammatical range and accuracy. So despite a couple of mistakes with articles, I don't see that as enough evidence to say it's a systematic mistake, but they are noticeable mistakes. Candidate has a lot of complex language. Get some subordination with while, comma, main clause, good. Starting sentence with gerund as a subject, cool. Another one, being online. Nice little modality with tend to, softening it. Often enjoy a wealth. So yeah, for me, there's a lot of good grammar in there. 8. Without the mistakes with articles, might be pushing. Might be close to that 9. So yeah, as always, the biggest problem is task response. Learning how to put forward an opinion that is on topic and then to support that opinion with relevant topic development. That's always, not always, let's lower my modality. That's a common problem that I see on this channel. But, candidate's language is very nice. Overall score of 7.0, C1, a very solid attempt. The candidate clearly knows how to write an IELTS academic essay. Yeah, grammar and vocab, solid. I would say, don't take so many risks with lexical resource. If you simplify and just, if I'm speaking one of my other languages, I kind of have a sense that, maybe that word sounds a bit strange. I don't really know if this works. And I try to go with a more sensible option rather than take risks. And I think the candidate can do that. If you're a person with not much lexical resource, sometimes you have to take those risks. But for this candidate, your vocab is amazing. You'll get better scores. You'll get a better score in vocab if you try not so hard, if that makes sense. Yeah, and don't worry. And about the coherence and cohesion, just any additional things like this stuff, you don't need to explain why this leads to more people going into this type of work. That's not what the task wants you to do. IELTS essays are very, they want you to do one thing. You only have 250 or 300 words to do this. So don't waste language on irrelevant stuff. Anyway, yeah, C1 7.0 overall. Good, solid attempt. Task response, as is often the case, is the biggest weakness here. But good job. Very good job. All right, so those are my thoughts on this candidate's writing. Let me know what you think. Am I too harsh? Am I too generous? And if you'd like me to check your IELTS writing tasks, I collect the candidates from my Telegram channel, Expert Examiner. I also do free speaking tests with lots of detailed feedback. Again, those candidates are collected from my Telegram channel, Expert Examiner, but it's kind of a lottery system. Winners are selected at random. If you don't want to go through the random process, you can pay for a speaking test or a writing check. Information on how you can do that is on my website, expertexaminer.com, and you can find links to that in the description. More videos coming soon. Next one will probably be on Sunday, but for now, bye-bye.